7 Democratic candidates for president took the stage at the final debate of 2019 this week. One of those who didn't qualify based on poll numbers and fundraising was former Massachusetts Governor Deval Patrick. He joins us now from the campaign trail in Manchester, New Hampshire. Thanks so much for joining me, Governor.
I'm glad to be with you, Yamiche, but come on, really? That's the introduction? He's the one who wasn't on the stage? Come on.
Well, you're here now with us.
I'll get there.
You got in this race just last month. What do you see as your path to the nomination, given that some people think that maybe you entered too late?
Well, I'm later, but not late. And I thank you for the chance to make that point because, you know, it's not late until the voters vote. And what's quite clear, even if you do trust the polling that's out there, is that there are other candidates who've been in for a long time, spent a lot of money and a lot of time, and it's still a wide open race. Large proportions, majorities of undecided voters in all of the early states. So we are respectful of the calendar. We will compete in all of the early states. We're spending a lot of time in New Hampshire and South Carolina in particular, because primaries are they're different in terms of how you organize than if it's intimate in New Hampshire, it's granular in Iowa, if you know what I mean. And we will be present in Iowa, but I think you'll see a lot more time spent here in New Hampshire and in South Carolina.
The Democratic National Committee has raised the threshold again for the next debate. It's going to be January 14th. This debate, Andrew Yang was the only candidate of color on stage. What do you make of that? And are you worried about the Democratic National Committee continuing to raise the bar?
Well, I think, look, I know there has to be some winnowing process. I will say I'm not sure that the debates, and I say this respectfully, having complimented you and your colleagues before we went on air on your conduct of the last debate. I am hoping that the format changes, not just to expose all of the candidates, but to create a better vehicle to communicate with the voting public, because with the exception of the most recent debate, many of them have felt more like a cage fight, where they were kind of almost small differences fussed about among the candidates, instead of the larger question, which to me is not about the character of the candidates, Democrat or the incumbent president. It's about the character of the country. And one of the reasons, indeed the reason I'm in, is because I think we see a moment right now, Yamiche, where the anxiety and frustration and even anger that people are experiencing about their economic and social lives is so widespread. There is an opportunity through solutions to unite the country. And my own leadership experience, both in the public sector and in the private sector, has been successfully to get people to turn to rather than on each other. And I think it's a moment we shouldn't miss.
The headline from the last debate was a fundraiser in a wine cave. You've had a very successful career in the private sector. What do you make of that being the headline? And is this a problem for the Democratic Party?
Well, you know, I'm sorry that a debate that was so substantive otherwise had a headline about a wine cave. I don't think I've ever been in a wine cave. But I think it's kind of beside the point. You know, I think many Americans agree with me, and I think many of the candidates on the stage, that we need a better way to fund our politics and our campaigns, that there is too much money, it is too influential, especially the dark money, and that we need to get this out of our politics. But you know, beyond that, I think the fact is that if we're going to unite the country, then we need to focus on what the real problems are. There are real problems around climate change, around criminal justice reform, around health care. And the issue when folks talk about millionaires and billionaires is not wealth, it's greed. And we have created a system that enables people to hoard all the benefits among a few, on the theory, discredited, by the way, that it would trickle down to everybody else. And we have to turn that around. So I regret that headline for a whole host of reasons, but to me, it's sort of beside the point. There are bigger issues before us, and my campaign is about those bigger issues and how we make the American dream actually work for everyone, everywhere.
Well, thank you so much, Deval Patrick, running for president, former governor of Massachusetts.
Good to be with you. Take care.